Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Kayla. I'm a certified hypnotist and I'm a life coach. I mainly talk about law of assumption over on TikTok. If you're not following me on Love Coach Kayla on TikTok, I post a lot on there. And then I also just started a lifestyle channel called, TikTok called Kayla in Real Life, and I'm going to be changing that to a different name pretty soon, probably Kayla in 3D on Instagram, so I'll probably be changing those to match soon. So today I want to talk to you guys about anxiety when manifesting. Show of hands, I know everyone's raising their hand at least. I know for me it's true. Who has experienced anxiety when manifesting? I can't tell you how anxiety inducing it was when I started manifesting and I started changing my self-concept. And there's a few different reasons for this, so I want to go over 6 different reasons why this happens, as well as solutions to each one, okay? I just know for me personally, it was like one of the most anxious times, and there's a few different reasons for that. So I want to offer some help to you. I wish this video existed when I was learning about manifestation and I was getting into it, because I totally would have used it. Before we get into it, I do want to say thank you to Otter for sponsoring today's video. So speaking of anxiety, I got the anti-anxiety pack, and there are 3 different bracelets that come in this pack, okay? We have howlite here, we have rhodonite, and we have amethyst. So these are so cute. I just think that the quality of the beads on these are so nice, and I also just adore that they have like little, I hope you can see this, they have little otters on them, which I think are so cute, like little otter charms. And I love these. I love the way they look. I like the size. So the last time they had sent me something, I got the smaller beads, and this time I got the larger ones. And I like both sizes depending on what look you're going for. I love these, and they each come in this like really well packaged and just really well done. So they come in these little boxes, and then the bracelet itself comes in these little velvet bags, and then each one comes with its own little card. So this is the howlite one, and it has an affirmation. It says, I stay calm in stressful situations. And then it has the intention, what zodiac sign it works for, as well as, you know, which chakra and all that that's best for. Let's read each one. So rhodonite is, I am kind and compassionate to myself and others. And then amethyst, which I also got last time, they had sent me one. It says, I am letting go of fear and embracing peace. Love these bracelets. Again, great quality. My daughter loves these. She always steals them from me and wears them all around the house and stuff. So I'm super excited to have this pack. I like that it comes in a pack too, of just like ones that go together if you're not really sure. Like when I was going through their website, I was kind of like, gosh, I don't know. I like this one and I like this one and I like this one. And so I love that they come in also packs that go together that look really cute together as well. So if you are wanting 20% off, you can use code Kayla20 or use the link in the description. So thank you again to Otter for sponsoring today's video. Like I said, anxiety for me was a big issue when I was manifesting. I just noticed, like, as I was going throughout the process, when I was learning about especially a specific person, when I was learning about law of assumption, I was really anxious about that. And not so much in terms of weight loss. I wasn't really anxious about that. I could see it happening. I was like, I believed in it. I was like, yeah, this is working great. And which ties into one of the points I'm going to make. But with the specific person, I was really anxious about it, especially with my self-concept. It made me very anxious. And there's a few different reasons for this. I have a lot of people come and tell me that this happens to them as well. So I want to get into each reason and why this might happen. Of course, how do you actually deal with it if this is happening to you, right? Number one, the number one reason anxiety happens when manifesting is because you don't actually believe it's working. You don't think it's working. You're like hoping it's working. You're wanting it to work, but you don't really think it's working. I can't tell you, looking back, that is probably the main reason I had anxiety when I was manifesting, because I was like doing the technique and I was like, is it working? I don't know. Is it happening? I hope it's happening. And like, I really didn't think it was working. I wasn't seeing any evidence. And so when you're putting so much work into something, you're putting so much focus and time and energy into something, and you're not, like, it's not happening in your head, you're like, oh, I don't think it's happening, I don't think it's working. It creates a lot of anxiety. Your mind's kind of like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we like trying so hard to like make this outcome happen that's not happening? It doesn't like it. So my favorite way to deal with this is actually to look at your manifestation and do your techniques from a different perspective, from a different identity. So what does that mean, Kayla? That sounds weird. So basically what most people do is they're doing the techniques, right? So this is where a lot of people say, like, well, I'm doing it, I'm doing the work. Where is it? It's not happening. Okay. Most of the time, yeah, you're probably doing the technique. Are you saying your affirmations? Probably. Yeah, you probably are. I was doing it. Are you doing the visualizations? Probably. I was as well, but I was still really anxious. Why? Because again, you don't think they're working when you do them. You do them, you get in the feeling even, you do it like just how you're supposed to do it. And then you come out of it and you go, oh my God, I don't know if that worked. Did it work? I hope it worked, right? Okay, so this is what you want to do. You're coming from a place of hoping it's working, of somebody who doesn't really believe they're a good manifestor. That's your identity. I'm not good at manifestation. I don't know if these work, but I'm somebody who doesn't believe it's working doing the technique. Okay, you're always getting who you're being. So we want to come from a different identity. Think of somebody who you think manifests really well. Like you're just, even if you don't want to think of somebody and embody them, just like think about what if you were a master manifestor, no matter what you're manifesting. Okay, this applies to everything. So let's just say a specific person. I am like the queen or king or whatever. I'm like the master. I'm manifesting a specific person and really get into that role. How would I say my affirmations if that were true? I'd be like, yeah, you're doing this. You are so in love with me, and you would know it's true. You would know that that's what they're thinking, right, when you say it. Or if you're like doing a visualization, you would come out of it and go, yep, that definitely worked. You want to assume it's working, okay? So you want to come from the identity when you do your techniques of somebody who is a master manifestor or manifesting whatever. If it's money, you're like, yeah, money loves me. Money comes to me like crazy. I am so wealthy. Like you want to say it like you know it's true, okay? And then you want to start assuming that it worked after you did it, instead of when you catch yourself hoping and wondering and waiting. Nope, you're like, oh yeah, that worked. I have nothing else to do. I did my technique. I set the intention, and I can go move on with my day because I'm a master manifestor. You really want to start thinking from that new identity. The other thing you can do is kind of pull up other times that you had manifested something and it worked. You want to give your mind evidence like, yeah, remember when it worked this time, so why wouldn't it work this time? You can also remind yourself, a third way you can combat that one is by basically being like, reminding yourself there's always movement behind the scenes, which is true. I remember when I manifested Mike, I was like, I remember being like, oh, I don't know if this is working like the whole time. And then when he came in, I finally like started living as though I would, like, I really started assuming it actually worked basically. Okay, that last week I went all in. I was like, this is mine. I'm fully embodying the version of me who has this thing. We're together. And he came in. And when he came in, he basically told me that he was thinking about me the whole time. He started saying all my affirmations back to me. I used to say, no matter what he's doing, no matter who he's with, he's thinking about me, all the stuff that you're told to say, right? And I was like, everything reminds him of me. He just wants to be around me all the time. And I remember he got on the phone. He's like, you know what's so crazy? Like ever since we met, I just can never stop thinking about you. Like no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I'm just like, gosh, this reminds me of Kayla. I wish Kayla were here. Actually, it's kind of crazy. I can't stop thinking about you. And I was like, I was so shocked because I realized the things that I was doing, the techniques were working the whole time, but I wasn't seeing it in my 3D happen because I had created this dynamic of like, I'm doing the technique, where is it, right? So I would be like, okay, I think he likes me, but it's not here. And so because I was assuming it wasn't working or he wasn't here, I wasn't experiencing it in my 3D. Just start assuming that it's working when you do it and be like, yep, that's what they're thinking. When I say it, that's what they're thinking. That's what they're thinking, okay? So which leads me to number 2, the other most common reason you get anxiety is really being heavily 3D focused. Like I have to see it in front of me to know it's working. And you want to remind yourself, no, again, there's always movement behind the scenes. I see so many people freak out about this, and it's normal, right? This happens because we're taught to think with our ego minds. We're taught to think with our human minds, and your human mind is here to give you a human experience, right? Like your consciousness, you're the I am, but you're having a human experience. And so because you're having a human experience, your ego mind allows you to do that with your senses, right? With you get to smell everything, you get to taste things, you get to see things and see what you've created, and that's beautiful. But it's also sometimes like confusing to people when they first start manifesting and retraining themselves how to actually think as a manifestor and not as just human, right? It's both. And so I think a lot of times people think like, oh, I have to see it. It's not happening in front of me, so it's not happening. Again, just thinking with the ego mind, not understanding there's always things happening behind the scenes, always. When you set the intention, this is what's happening. Your entire 3D is collaborating and moving stuff around just to make it fit, just to make that true for you. Isn't that so freaking beautiful? That's amazing. But we always block it because we're always like, oh my God, but it's not here, but it's not here. So we keep returning to that identity of like, it's not in front of me, so it's not happening. And your 3D goes, okay, it's not happening then. It's not happening, even though it was recalibrating and it would have been in front of you had you kept persisting in that end state, okay? The way you can kind of combat this is similar to number 1, which is where you're like, hey, there's always movement behind the scenes. This is happening when I say it's happening. So coming from that identity of I'm a master manifestor, it happens when I say so because I'm the creator of my reality, but also reminding yourself like, the only thing you have is internal. The only thing that matters is you, your identity. And then eventually your 3D reflects it back. I know people always say the 3D is old news. I always look at it like the 3D is moving with you. Like it's a big you moving with you. So when I say this is who I am, your 3D goes, this is who you are. But a lot of us are trained to think like, oh, I'm waiting for it to happen, or like I'm hoping it'll happen, or like they persisted in an old identity for so long. When they see a little bit of that reflected back, they're like, oh my God, no, it didn't work out. Like start panic mode. But no, it's like, it's more of like a decision. The biggest thing I can tell you about anxiety and manifesting is remembering who the heck you are, remembering you're the I am, you're the creator, whatever you say goes. So we don't have to see it in front of us. When you say this is so, it is so. And the only thing that really matters is your state, like your identity, I should say, your identity of who you're being. So when you say I'm somebody who has this thing, eventually if you keep persisting in that, your 3D projects it back because it moves with you. It's always, everything is happening now. It's me to number 3, the third common thing I see all the time is self-concept, your identity. Okay, so your mind's job is to keep you alive, and it keeps you alive by keeping you safe. Well, it thinks that the certain set of belief systems that you had, that's normal, that's safe, you're used to it, and knows what's next, right? It knows what to expect, it knows what it's creating. It's really familiar with this identity that you've thought of your whole life. Again, you're not really your identity, you're not really your personality, you're the I am behind it, but we've played this role for so long of like who we really believe we are. I'm just that way, I'm just quiet, or I'm just outgoing, or I've always just been stubborn, whatever it is, whatever traits you want to say. Like we think that's who we are, those traits or those characteristics or that role we've been playing, but it's just a role. You've been playing it for so long, it just feels like you're really freaking good at it. That's what it is. You're really good at playing that role. But that's why self-concept's so amazing, because you can switch to a different role at any point, but it does take some training. And sometimes when you switch to a new role and you start building up those new neural pathways, the old identity is like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, this is where we've always been, where we've always been safe here. Like, why are you randomly trying to like change this? And it thinks that it's unsafe, or it thinks that it's not familiar, and it goes, what are you doing? Like, no, over here is safe. We've always done this, right? And so sometimes it can create this anxiety. Again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I really struggled with this when I was changing my self-concept, when I was learning about manifestation. Oh my gosh, man, like when I would listen to self-concept tapes at night for the first time, and I had never been confident my whole life. I had really low self-concept. I know people comment and be like, must be so easy for you, like it's different for you. Like, no, I really had to go through it as well, trust me. I had never been confident. I always I didn't even know what that was like when people would say be confident, I'd be like, what does that even mean? Like, I literally had no idea. And so when I started putting on tapes at night, my mind, oh my gosh, fought me so hard, you guys. I would unplug my phone every night. I would take off my headphones every time I would try to listen. I tried plugging it into a different plug because I burned up a charger, plugged it into a completely different plug. That charger also just stopped working, or my phone just wouldn't charge. Like, I kept manifesting ways that my mind was trying to push this away. It's like, no, what are you doing? Like, we've always been not confident, and you're suddenly saying you deserve this? Like, what do you mean? And so it was funny to watch the old identity try to hold on. Like, no, we're safe over here. We've always done this. And so I noticed it too, and I would say affirmations, I just didn't really believe it. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that as well, which is why I'm sharing this. But I had a lot of resistance to the new identity because it's not a way I'd ever thought. So my mind's kind of like, what are you doing? So a way that you can kind of do this is just tell yourself, talk to your mind, hey, it's safe for me. It's safe for me to believe this now. It's safe for me to be this new identity. It's okay. I remember when I started listening to tapes at night, I would tell myself, hey, it's safe for us to believe all this. It's okay. You can accept all this as true. It's okay, and I remember telling my mind that, and eventually started getting better and better and better. And so that's another way that I've seen that happen. You want to really start identifying as a new version of you when old things pop up that try to suck you back into the old identity, or when those old thoughts from the old identity come up, separate from that. Go, oh, that's just the old identity. That doesn't mean it's true just because I thought that. Doesn't mean it's true just because it popped up in my 3D. I can easily say, that's coming from the old identity. Okay, cool, whatever, that's not who I am anymore. I'm this person now. And you're again, the consciousness moving consciously to a new identity. When I learned how to do this, that week that Mike came in, oh my gosh, I was all powerful. I felt all powerful anyway. I was again, we're always all powerful. That's why I said that. But I mean, I really felt oh my God, I can do anything. I'm really moving to a different identity right now. Because I remember noticing, I'd be oh, I'm always loved, I'm always chosen. I would just hold that and be yep, that's true for me. And I'd walk around and live my life as though that were true, embodying the new identity. And also I get really bad intrusive thoughts what if this is happening? What if he, is dating someone else? Or what if he likes someone more than you? And I would get that anxious feeling. Again, that's my old identity trying to pull me back. Just to give you an example. And I would stop and I'd be no, that's just my mind trying to play out an old story. That doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean anything. I would calm my mind down. By doing breath work, or I would just listen to meditation music, completely neutral, not even trying to affirm my way out of it, just completely neutral till I was calm and neutral again. And I'd go, no, okay, actually, I'm always chosen. I would again, get really comfortable with that new feeling of that new identity feels like. And I was yeah, I'm always chosen. I'm someone who's always loved. And I would really embody that as if that were true, feel it as if it were true. And I'd go, so yeah. And I'd think of him from that angle. So I'd be yeah, if I'm always chosen, of course he's going to choose me, whatever. And I move on with my day. The first few times it felt a lot of redirecting the first few days, because my mind was what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God. And then after just talking to it, hey, it's safe for us to believe this. We don't have to have these intrusive thoughts. And then the identity shifting, it was like done. Like I really didn't have a lot of intrusive thoughts. Not that nothing ever came up again or anything like that, but it really felt like after those 3 days, I was a lot more grounded and it got easier and easier and easier to embody. The fourth reason that people feel anxiety when they're manifesting is they are trying to force it to happen. Okay. So when you, like I said, you have a human mind and you have the consciousness, the I am, the higher mind, whatever you want to call it. Okay. All you have to do with your conscious mind is say, this is what's happening, and say, yep, that's what's happening, and that's it. And then you can move on with your day and assume that that's true. And your higher mind, your 3D, whatever, moves everything around to prove that true to you. Okay, so what a lot of us do is we try to take on both roles with the human mind, and we go, yeah, okay, this is what's happening. Okay, wait, I'm not seeing it. Oh my God, so I got to go force it to happen. Let me go reach out and make sure that they're thinking about me. I did the same thing. I would always post for attention. I would, constantly check the scale, like everything, all of it, okay? So instead of trying to force the how and taking on all that role too, you're trying to like piece together how it could happen. And like, it reminds me of like that, the meme of the guy with like the poster board behind him or whatever it is. And he had all the pictures and he like looks crazy and he's like, look at this, right? It reminds me of that. Like, that's what we're trying to do, trying to like, how could it work? I don't know, but they said this to me. Could they come out of it? I don't know. Like, can they change their mind? Maybe they would, but they also said this in the past. You're like trying to figure it out, and it creates so much anxiety and it makes people so burnt out and so tired, and you're making it harder than it has to be. And all you have to do, again, a lot of this you're going to notice is me telling you all of it has one bottom line of like the identity, identifying as someone who has it, right? So you want to shift your identity to like, no, I'm the I am. It's okay. Whatever I say goes. So when I say this is happening, I have nothing else to figure out. I don't have to figure out the how. I don't have to figure out when. All I have to say is this is what it is. Again, shifting your identity to someone who is a master manifestor and go, oh yeah, this is what's happening. This is happening. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. I'm going to assume it's working now and move on with my day. And I'll have to worry about the how. It all just worked out perfectly. You can, if you want an affirmation, one thing I did that helped me a lot was I would go, I'm so glad I saw evidence of this so quickly in my 3D. I'm so glad that played out so perfectly. That was so amazing. Like, I would tell myself stuff like that. I'm so glad this all worked out so perfectly. And basically like manifest my way to it, and ease myself with those affirmations. The fifth reason people get anxious when they are manifesting something is they really don't feel safe having this thing. It doesn't feel like a normal, consistent part of their life for them. They might have done enough affirmations to bring it in, and that's great. But then sometimes to hold on to it, you got to make sure your identity is like, yeah, I deserve this. This is normal for me to have, right? So I've seen this happen. You'll hear this happen all the time with money. Like even people who don't manifest, people who just like, not consciously, we're always manifesting, but you know what I mean, didn't consciously manifest winning the lottery. They just like happen to win the lottery. And then what do? They spend it all within the first year. Like statistically, you can look this up. They spend it all. And then they're like, oh my God, how did this happen? Like I just back to where I was. It's because your mind was very comfortable and very used to the old identity of being someone who isn't wealthy. And so it doesn't matter how much money you bring in or how much money you manifest. Let's say you do all your affirmations and win the lottery. If your baseline is set like, it's not normal for me to have this thing, you will keep on manifesting ways for it to go away. Same with SP. Let's say you manifest them in. If you're not someone who's chosen and loved and you feel comfortable with being chosen and loved and that's normal for you, guess what happens? They're going to be like, oh, actually, like, I just want to do this. Actually, I'm going to start working a lot more. Actually, I just like really would rather hang out with my friends. Actually, I'm more interested in third party over here. You're going to keep manifesting in a way with different details every time. So you want to make sure your identity that you're being, the version of you that you're being lines up with the version of you who that manifestation is a normal, consistent part of their life. Doing this with Mike, where when he came in, I didn't want to just say affirmations for him because I had done enough of that. I had visualized and affirmed till I was blue in the face, you guys. It wasn't that. I was like, okay, I also worked on my self-concept separate from him. So I was like, I'm someone who's always chosen. I'm someone who's loved. I'm someone who men adore in general, right? Not even thinking about him. I'm someone who men adore. I'm someone who men commit to. I'm somebody who men prioritize. Then when I built that belief up a little bit, when I thought of him, I was like, oh yeah, he's a man. Of course he wants to be with me. Why did I ever doubt this? Like, it's so interesting. And so you want to make sure that that's a normal baseline. So when they come in, you're like, oh yeah, this is what I deserve. I always get this kind of treatment. Revision can be really helpful for this if you're feeling this way. You can be like, no, I've always been somebody who's always chosen. I did this also because I had this fear of like being cheated on because I had experienced that in the past. And Mike is like the most faithful, like loyal person I've ever seen in my life. And I remember I was like, I don't want to bring the story into this relationship. I don't want to project that onto him, especially when he's not doing anything. Like that can't be fun, right? And so I really built up this belief that like, no, I'm somebody who has never, actually I asked myself, I was like, well, what if I had like never been cheated on, how would I feel? And I was like, oh, I wouldn't even care. This wouldn't even cross my mind, whatever, right? Because I was bringing that old story I was trying to bring it into the new relationship. My mind was to keep me safe, right? Again, it was just to keep me safe, because it's like, remember when that happened last time we were dating somebody? Like, do you really want that to happen again? And so when I went back and I was like, oh no, I've never been cheated on, like, or I didn't even realize it was revision at the time, but I remember thinking, like, what if I had never been cheated on? And I was like, oh, I wouldn't care. And that just kind of helped me get into the feeling state. I didn't even go back and like revise every time I was cheated on or anything like that. I just really was like, what if I had never been? And then I like thought of Mike and I was like, oh, I wouldn't even think, this wouldn't cross my mind. He's a great, faithful, loyal person, whatever. And then he also built up my identity of like having somebody who had like a secure attachment. And somebody who was like secure in relationships and all of that. And that was super, game changer, because then you're able to maintain it. There's no more anxiety of like, what if this thing leaves? It's like, no, this thing is normal for me to have. So you're calm, you're good. Like, yeah, I always receive this thing, so I'm not super attached to it, right? Me to number 6, being super freaking attached to the desire. Now, let me explain what this means, because I think people think that they just can never think about the desire again, or they want to detach from it, which means never thinking about it. If you care about something, you're going to think about it. That's fine. But you want to think about it as though it's yours, like it's a very normal, natural part of your life, like I was just saying in number 5. But what most people do is they are so freaking aware that they do not have this thing it's just not here, it's not working, that it feels unbearable to them. It's really anxiety inducing, like, oh my God, I need this, I want this so bad, and it's not here. You have to understand the way to combat this is by understanding the only thing that matters is your identity. When you say, I have this thing now, and like Michael Singer says, everyone just wants to be okay. All you're really looking for is that like peace. You're looking for peace. You're looking for the I am. And when you feel peace again, I've noticed this when I'm manifesting things. Like if I'm really anxious about having it and I tell myself like, okay, what if this were guaranteed? What if I were really getting it tomorrow or something? And I feel that peace. I don't even care about the 30 anymore. I don't even try to get it anymore. I'm not super attached. I'm like, oh, it's guaranteed. I have nothing else to do. And I feel fine, even though nothing changed out here. It's a shifting of the states, the shifting of the identity. I'm somebody who has this thing. So you have to understand the only thing that matters is who you're being. The only thing that matters, the only thing you really want for that relief is to shift your feeling state, is to shift your identity, to be like, no, I'm somebody who has this thing. Perfect. This is guaranteed. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Moving on with my day. I can do whatever else I want with my day, right? So when you're super attached, like I don't have it, take a step back and be like, this is not going to get me what I want. Everything is now. So if I keep saying it's not here, oh my God, I don't have this, and oh my God, I'm looking for it, you're saying I'm heavily identifying as somebody who does not have this thing, and your 3D has to go, okay, here are more reasons for you to keep worrying, hoping, wondering, and waiting. So when you shift your identity to, no, I'm somebody who always has this thing. I'm somebody who like is loved. I'm someone who's with my person. My person's guaranteed to come in. You can either say I have this now or this thing is coming in. I'm someone who's really wealthy. I'm someone who's already in my goal weight. And then you're like, oh, I have nothing else to worry about. Or I'm losing weight. A big one I did when I was manifesting weight loss was I kept saying, oh, it's coming off. That way I didn't have to like pretend like I was 100 pounds less or anything. And then I also did this with money, with everything. Like when I was manifesting, making more money passively, I remember I would just wake up in the morning and be like, God, I'm so glad I can just drink my coffee and I don't even have to like do anything today because money is just coming to me passively. And I just remember feeling that peaceful feeling and identifying as that before I even turned off my calendar, before I even stopped seeing one-on-ones as much and stuff. And so you really want to start embodying the version of you who has it, knowing that, hey, I have this now. There's nothing else to try and get. There's nothing to try and look for. When I say this outcome is mine and I'm claiming this desire is mine, I have nothing else to look for. I have nothing else to do. I have nothing else to worry about. There's no more anxiety. It's mine now. And then that's it. Now you're like, that's what detachment is from the outcome. You're not detaching. Sorry, that's what detachment is when manifesting. It's not detaching from the outcome. It's not detaching from your manifestation. It's deciding what's happening and saying, this is who I am. I'm somebody who has this thing. But by doing that, you're detaching from the old identity. Okay. So at the beginning of this, I should have said number 6 is attachment to the old identity and being attached to like not having it so hardcore that you just can't even like, it's just so anxiety inducing that you don't have it because you want it so bad. Not understanding the way to get it is to say, I'm somebody who has this now, or I'm claiming this desire as mine now. I'm deciding that this is mine instead of hoping and worrying and wondering and waiting. 6 reasons anxiety happens when manifesting and the solutions to them. Now, I know all of them kind of just come down to identity. At the end of the day, you guys, everything just boils down to identity. Like, who are you being? What are you assuming? Same thing, right? So you want to make sure you're somebody who's assuming positively about your desires. And I think these are little ways that it kind of falls through the cracks. Like people will think like, oh, I'm doing the techniques, I'm doing it, like I'm assuming this, but really you're not assuming it. You're doing the technique and hoping and worrying and wondering and waiting. And then you're basically identifying as someone who doesn't have it really hard, even though you're doing the techniques, right? And so that can create a lot of anxiety. All of these things really can, but again, everything boils down to identity and who you're being. So when you identify as a master manifestor, you identify as somebody who has this thing now, that's it. Or it's coming in for you, that's it. you're free, you're at peace, the anxiety is gone. And I remember this clicking for me that last week that I manifested Mike, and I was like, oh my God, it was so relieving. And when I asked myself, like, well, if I could just, you know, and this were really guaranteed, that this were really coming in, because I really realized I was under the assumption it wasn't happening. When I understood, like, oh, I can assume it's happening now. I really have been assuming it's not happening, and I started assuming it was happening. I was like, oh, I felt this relief that I hadn't felt in months. And I was like, it's mine. Like, I just decided it's mine. Oh my God, I can do whatever else with my day. I can do whatever else with my time. I was like, I have all this free time now. I don't have to do techniques all day. Like, it was so freeing. And that's what I want to give to you guys too with this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to use Kayla20 as your code, or the link below, for 20% off of your Otter Spirit order. If you want to get something from them, they have a bunch of really cool bracelets. I adore them. And I will see you guys next time.